and to demonstrate my willingness to stand beside my fellow patriots. The level of intrusion in our lives today is unprecedented in our lifetimes, and I would argue that it's at levels not seen since this nation's founding. It's my personal opinion that we are on a steady path toward the very tyranny from which our founders fled so long ago. So I contend that the circumstances of why we're all here are very much the same as those that empowered our founding fathers to break free of oppression all those years ago. The wisdom and foresight they had in creating our glorious Constitution and the ageless guidelines for liberty known as our Bill of Rights is ample cause indeed for the tribute we pay here today. Like many others here who've arrived late in my patriotic or my political awareness, I was completely unprepared for what I'd find. There have been actual revolutionaries hard at work to destroy our way of life. And to make matters worse, they had been at it for more than 3 generations. I was forced to accept the fact that this patriotic thing wasn't going to be a flash in the pan, and that helping restore our nation to a position of greatness was to be a long and protracted battle. But because the very future of freedom for our children and grandchildren was at risk, I chose to accept that challenge. I was overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the problem and wondered, what can one person do? I quickly found that it was not difficult to find others who felt exactly the same, and it was empowering because I was no longer alone. As I began to relearn our history, I realized that our children were no longer being taught the truth about America's past. All of the righteousness of our successful fight for freedom was being overshadowed by stories of American aggression, and the very fabric of our nation, God, family, and country, was being intentionally destroyed. Nor are our children learning the ugly truth about socialism, Marxism, and communism under the dictatorships of Stalin, Mussolini, Chavez, and Mao. If we expect to be victorious in the struggle to save our nation, then it will be incumbent upon each of us to teach our children and grandchildren the proper history of America, as we cannot depend on the public education system to bring them the truth. The sacrifices of our nation's heroes are being forgotten, and the genuine goodness of America is being erased by those who would destroy our country, robbing us of our history. European socialism is unraveling before our very eyes. Let us help our children understand why. We must understand, though, that our young generation is living in a time of great personal conflict, not only due to the deep social divides that are being inflicted upon them, but also due to ideological inconsistencies from 2 of the most influential resources in their lives. Their educators, who are all-knowing, of course, and their elders, who are silently trusted. That's us. And though we are willing, or we are often disheartened by our children's inability to relate to our concerns, we must continue to set worthwhile examples for them to observe. For whether or not our children openly embrace our cause, they are watching us. Our children are watching us, and they will learn from us. They learn by observing us in the exercise of these precious rights. It's worth practicing efforts like those we engage in here today, as ultimately it will be up to our children's generation to pick up that torch of freedom. So we must do everything we can to make sure the lessons today are rooted firmly in history and with a deep love of God and country. So may God bless America, and may God bless those who serve to protect us. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Kevin Miller. He's a conservative talk show host for KIDO Radio. Kevin has been featured on the Today Show with Lisa Gibbons, CNN, MSNBC, The Washington Post, and the Baltimore Sun. Kevin will be talking about the Bill of Rights and reading the Governor's Proclamation.
Well, guys, it's a great day in America today. Every day in America is great. Does anybody know who Time Magazine's Person of the Year is?
You!
No, not me. I'll take it as it should be. And that would be The Activist. Time Magazine today listed Mark Zuckerberg, I believe is his name, the founder of Facebook, as the Person of the Year. And even today, Even today, with the Tea Party, the 9/12 Project, the Sons of the Republic, everyone who has so graciously come out or been online, they still don't get it. You know, we've got this big spending bill that Mitch McConnell, the minority leader, says, well, I don't know what's in it. $1.1 trillion. You know, as we'll hear from some of our friends, give me liberty or give me death, not debt. You know, that's what we're dealing with today. And I know it's called, believe me, I may be turning purple here, but we'll knock this out quick. The important thing is, could we imagine America today without the Bill of Rights? And how many of us actually know what are the Bill of Rights? First 10 amendments. Well, there's the Second Amendment, there's the First Amendment, there's the states' rights, there's the 10th Amendment, but as Steve said, 9 of the 10 amendments are being broken today. And yet, without y'all being here, I mean, who else is aware of that?
Nobody.
I mean, we talk about the age of apathy, that's what we're living in, and these beautiful 10 amendments were designed to make sure that the oppressive government didn't have the tyranny that we're starting to see creep in today. That's the beauty of America. And if we sit back and again, people, you know, whether the press is here or not, they say, well, there was only 50 people here. God bless you for being here. Because it starts with you. I mean, I'm sure it was cold at Lexington. I'm sure it was cold at Valley Forge. It's the least that we can do is to honor these 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights. Is it not?
Yes.
All right, just want to make sure everybody is awake. And I mean, it's for me, you know, this is what I do and this is what I love to do, and I'm blessed to do it, but God bless the people that are here, like Mr. Franklin, Mr. Henry, the activists. You all are the heroes. It's very easy for us to sit back and do nothing. But don't get discouraged. And if the politicians do not get the message from November 2nd, well, we'll just wait 2 years. And then we'll wait another 4 years. But eventually they'll get it because we won't wait.
It won't wait.
No.
Oh, all right. I'm going to get you on a special list there. But anyway, Mr. Obama wants to see you after class. But, you know, quickly, let me just run down these.
I want to see him too.
I bet you do. All right. But I mean, could we imagine life without the Bill of Rights, without the freedom to speak? Today, you know, I want to thank Steve for pointing this out, and we don't know who helped the governor with this proclamation. God isn't in it. You know, they're day by day, lesson by lesson, online by online, space by space, paragraph by paragraph, they're eliminating free speech. Oh, it's offensive. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. The right to keep and bear arms. I mean, what would Idaho be like without the Second Amendment? Well, was it Justice Breyer or Justice Stevens said, you know, really, James Madison didn't believe in that, but he wanted to pass the Constitution, so he wanted to make sure that the militias couldn't be called up by the federal government, so he just threw that in there. You have a Supreme Court justice saying, well, the Second Amendment doesn't apply. That's not the real intent of the Founding Fathers. I mean, you had people that were farmers, laborers, ordinary folks, orators, and yet they wrote this down on the paper. I understand that the right to keep and bear arms. See, I'm cold. The right to keep and bear arms. You know, as Steve talked about, quartering of soldiers. Could you imagine someday where all of a sudden you could have troops from the United Nations knocking on your door? Oh, y'all are crazy. Well, people said we'd never elect a socialist either. Could happen. Search and seizure. How about the TSA? You know, you think the TSA is bad now? Imagine